There are horror stories that rely on monsters, blood, and shadows. And then there are stories that don't need any of that, because everything happened in plain sight, documented in legal filings, flight logs, depositions, and sealed court records. The Jeffrey Epstein case is one of those stories. Not because of what people imagine, but because of what is confirmed. Jeffrey Epstein was not a myth. He was not a rumor. He was a convicted sex offender, arrested, prosecuted, and documented across multiple decades. His crimes were not hidden. They were reported, minimized, delayed, and buried again and again. And the files tell that story. The beginning, a man with no clear origin. Jeffrey Epstein presented himself as a financier with powerful connections. The court records and investigative reports repeatedly noted that his source of wealth was unclear. He had no visible client list matching his lifestyle, yet owned multiple luxury properties, including a private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands, a Manhattan mansion, and estates across the world. This alone drew scrutiny, but scrutiny never became intervention. The pattern: girls, money, silence according to sworn testimony, police reports, and victim statements. Epstein used a consistent method. Underage girls, some as young as 14, were recruited, often through other girls, and brought to his residences under the guise of massages. What happened next is not speculation. It is detailed in court filings. Victims described sexual abuse, coercion, threats, and payments designed to ensure silence. Many testified that they were pressured to recruit others. Some said they were warned that Epstein was untouchable. At the time, that warning proved accurate. The 2008 deal, when the system looked away. In 2008, Epstein was charged in Florida. What followed is one of the most controversial plea deals in modern American legal history. Epstein pleaded guilty to a state-level offense, served 13 months, and was allowed to leave jail 6 days a week under a work release program. Federal charges, despite multiple victims, were dropped. This agreement was later ruled to have violated victims' rights, but by then, the damage was done. The files that never went away, even after his conviction. Epstein remained connected to powerful individuals. Flight logs later made public showed numerous trips on his private jet, later nicknamed the Lolita Express by media outlets. The logs are real. They list names, dates, and destinations. What they do not prove is criminal guilt, but they confirm proximity, access, and repeated association. That distinction matters, and it's chilling enough on its own. The island, Epstein's private island, Little St. James, became central to later investigations. Victims testified that abuse occurred there. Law enforcement eventually searched the property after Epstein's 2019 arrest. Photographs released later showed surveillance equipment, locked rooms, an unusual architecture that raised serious questions. But again, questions are not conclusions. What is confirmed is this: multiple victims independently identified the island as a site of abuse. 2019, the case reopens. In July 2019, federal prosecutors in New York arrested Epstein on sex trafficking charges. This time, the case moved fast. He was denied bail. The evidence was overwhelming. For the first time, it appeared that Epstein would face a full federal trial. He never did. The death on August 10, 2019. Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his jail cell. The official ruling: suicide by hanging. But the circumstances were deeply troubling, and those concerns are documented, not speculative. Camera malfunctions, guards asleep, checks not performed. Multiple failures occurred simultaneously. The guards later admitted falsifying records. They were charged. The system failed again, this time permanently. The aftermath: files, names, redactions. After Epstein's death, civil lawsuits continued. Thousands of pages of documents, often referred to as the Epstein files, were unsealed over time. These files include depositions, email records, financial transactions, victim testimony, references to powerful individuals. They do not automatically prove crimes by everyone mentioned, but they prove something else: that Epstein did not operate alone, that he had access, protection, and time. Why this story feels like horror: there is no creature hiding in the dark here. There is paperwork, there are signatures, there are sealed documents that stayed sealed for years. The horror is not that the crimes happened, it's that they were known, reported, documented, delayed. The real monster, Jeffrey Epstein, is dead. That part of the story is over. But the system that allowed him to operate for decades, despite warnings, victims, and evidence, still exists. And that is why the Epstein files continued to disturb people years later. Because they don't just document abuse, they document how isolate power makes silence legal. And this is not a ghost story. This is not a conspiracy story. This is a horror story written in court records. And the files are still open.